Jackie Pantello, back with more from Brevard Notes. And here with me, I've been chatting with Keira Gillett. And Keira is a local author of children's books, and she's written a trilogy. And the second book has just been published, and everybody's so excited about it. So, Keira, welcome to Brevard Notes. And
Thank you, Jackie. I'm glad to be back.
Yes, we were so happy when she had her first book published, and now she's had the second one. And the main character's name is Zaria.
Yes, Zaria Fierce, and the second book in the trilogy is called Zaria Fierce and the Enchanted Drakeland Sword, and it picks up about 8 months after the first book ends. Mm-hmm. Zaria travels around Norway with the same group of friends, and they are running around trying to fix past mistakes from the first book.
I'm holding up the book because I love the cover. I just love it. Oh, it's a picture of Zaria, and who's the little friend?
It's a doppelganger. It's a scary thing that keeps haunting her dreams. Uh-huh. And she doesn't quite know what to make of it, and nobody else can see it.
Oh,
so
wow.
She's kind of alone in figuring out what's going on with that.
Yes, and so the whole background of your book is in Norway, and that's interesting in itself. I mean, Norway's so cold and Florida's so warm, but I think that children and their imaginations now, all children, I think, have imaginations, some more vivid than others, but your books are geared towards more towards a middle-aged child, is that correct?
Yes, middle school age. Middle schoolers, yes.
Not middle-aged.
But I've heard from adults, parents, and grandparents that their kids in elementary school love it just as much as they do. They pick it up when they get the book and they're starting to read it, and then they don't want to hand it over to their kid or grandkid because they want to finish it first.
The adults love the books too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. And it's a trilogy, and the first book was Zaria
Fierce.
Zaria
and
Fierce.
The Secret of Gloomwood Forest.
The Secret of Gloomwood Forest. And then the second book has the sword, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now you told me something. I hope that you don't mind if I say it, that it's actually Zaria's birthday during the month of November.
Yes, it is. And
so you have some special things that are going on. And you have a website?
I do. My website is keiragillett.com. And when her birthday comes, which is November 11th, we will be having a big reference page and post go up that talks about different costumes you can put together and food that you can make and activities that you can do that are all inspired from the books.
Oh, so you can have a birthday party and dress up. And I notice you look a little bit like, I never say it right, Zaria.
Yes.
Zaria from the first book. If you notice that Zaria, in the first book, she has on a red dress, and she has a red bow in her hair. Yep. And Keira Gillett is dressed like her character, Zaria.
Yes, I am. This is her birthday outfit in the first book when she turns 13. And, it's a Florida-inspired version because, as you mentioned, Norway is much colder. So
yes,
in the first
Norway
book, it's all woolen clothes and large, heavy jackets. So I've kind of Florida-upped the costume.
Well, but you know, you are everything to do with your book because I was so excited and talked to you when your first book came out. You have a whole sort of international thing going on because I have to say the graphics are great. I love your characters, the way they look. And I think it's very interesting. You should share that how you have your illustrator is actually
from Ireland. Yeah, Owen Kerrigan was this artist that I found on DeviantArt, and I kind of stalked him across his different internet profiles from his website to his Facebook, trying to see if he took commissions. And when I saw that he did, it was very exciting because I reached out to him, and he's been wonderful. Working together with him for the second round has just been fantastic.
Yes, and so you have your illustrator is in Ireland. Is that the correct term, in Ireland? And then you have the narrator of the books on tape, which I think that I would enjoy that. I think that I know a lot of people that would enjoy that.
Michelle Carpenter is wonderful.
And so now, but she doesn't live in Ireland, and she doesn't live in Florida, so.
She lives in Tennessee. I found her when I put my book up for audition on audible.com, and she also found me, so she submitted a audition, and I loved it, and we got talking, and she's now one of my best friends. We talk all the time as we're doing different things, and one of the fun things that she's been doing is she's been drawing little coloring book pages for Zaria Fierce, which I'm putting up as a resource on the website to kind of go with the birthday theme and everything else. So it's just been fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's so interesting to see how you have developed this whole thing, and you will have one more book, of course, because it's a trilogy. Can you tell us what the name of the third book will be? Or
yes.
Would that be spoiling everything?
Nope, it's not a spoiler. The third book is going to be Zaria Fierce and the Dragon Keeper's Golden Shoes.
Oh.
Yes. And that was hands down the winner amongst the different kids that I polled. One of the other choices that I had, which I can't even remember at the moment, they just called it a baby name. They would never pick up that book. So if you're a self-published author, you should always go to the source and the people that you're aiming your books towards, because they will tell you what works for them as a title or not.
So you conducted, polls are very popular to talk about right now, so
Yes.
you conducted your own poll of the right age kids for your book. Oh, that's wonderful. Very smart, very smart. So, Keira, now you're not from here originally, but you spent a lot of time here, or are you from here
No,
originally?
I'm from here. I was born, I think, in Rockledge or Cocoa, and then I've lived in Suntree, Vieira, Palm Bay, Melbourne for all my life. So it's
Oh, so that's great. So when we say local author, we mean that, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And you've also have had an interest in, I know you write a couple of blogs. Tell me about that.
When I got out of college, I started writing book blogs for romance novels because that's what I was really into. And then as my sisters got older and they started reading, I started a young adult book blog with them, and we wrote about our different thoughts and opinions and how we felt about the books, and it was a lot of fun, and that kind of led me to going, well, I love to read this, I should write something, and that's how Zaria Fierce kind of came about.
Well, yeah, and you liked to write when you were younger in school, poetry and things like that. So then you evolved from poetry, short stories, to a full-blown book, and then a trilogy. That's like really
Oh, that
good.
was writing the second book was a different experience than writing the first book, because the first book was figuring out the world and the second book was continuing it. And so in a lot of respects, the second book was a lot easier to write because I had all the characters, I had all the places, I knew what I was doing. But then in other respects, it was, you have to keep it in line with the characters. They have to sound the same as they did in the first book. They have to get a little bit older. They have to sound like they're maturing. And so you have all these different things that you're juggling that you're not quite juggling in the first book because you're setting it all up. So it was a lot of back and forth and testing things out.
I never would have thought of that, but of course you're absolutely right. That's pretty fascinating, yeah, that they would have to mature a little bit in how they would work out their problems, even though it's the same characters,
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. And, you said you have sisters. How many sisters do you have?
I have 2 younger sisters and an older brother.
Okay.
So,
and does your brother get involved with he's not any of these characters, is he?
No, he might be a giant just because he's really, really tall. He's like 7 foot without shoes on practically.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh.
When he came to visit me, yeah, he was so tall he had to kind of duck his head like this as he was walking through doorways.
And he's not in any of these books. I would think growing up with all those sisters, he might have like taken off after you a few times. No.
No, my brother was wonderful, and so are my sisters.
I'm sure that they are wonderful. So, okay, now you are a very tech-savvy girl, aren't you? And that's how you managed to track down all of these people. It seems like United States, Ireland, Norway. Now, did you live in Norway?
No, I've never lived in Norway. In fact, I've never visited Norway, but
You
it's a
need to.
I do. I do need
visit.
to. Yes. 'Cause-
Send this girl to Norway. Yeah.
Yes, please do buy my books. Fund my trip.
Yeah.
So,
Because that's so interesting that you would pick this place that you hadn't visited, but you picked it, you said, because of its richness with the fantasy world.
yes. And it's such a beautiful country. I look at all the photos and stuff because when I do my research, I go to different travel sites and I do the research by looking at what people have been writing and sharing about it, and so it's how I get inspired is looking it up and planning my trip for the day that I do get to go.
Well, Keira, I hope that you get to go to Norway, and I'm just so happy that you were able to come back to talk to us about Zaria Fierce and the Enchanted Drakeland Sword. Is that right? Am I saying it right? Zaria Fierce and the Enchanted Drakeland Sword. And I want everybody to try to go to the website for Keira Gillett, and it's Keira, and it's Gillette. And
No E.
no E on the
At
end.
the end,
Okay.
yeah.
And check out her website, and I hope that that you get to Norway, and we look forward to having you back for the 3rd book in your trilogy. So thank you, Keira.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask everybody to stay tuned as the community calendar rolls by.